Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Sing Confidently, Live Creatively podcast. Estelle here. How are you doing? How's your week going? I'm so glad you're back again. Today, we're talking about why we procrastinate as singers and what to do about it. I'm going to give you two simple takeaways from today that you can run with and move forward with, that you're not procrastinating on your dreams, on your desires to start singing more or to start singing again, right? And so let's get into it. But first, I hope you guys are doing well. How has your singing been this week? Have you been able to sing at all? Have you been able to be creative through expressing yourself in music? Did you have an audition this week? Did you write a song this week? Like, how's that going? I'd love to know. You guys can always reach out to me and let me know, because I'm on this journey with you and I want to make sure that we're doing this together and we're growing together. Okay. And going to today's topic, like, one reason why you maybe haven't sung at all this week, or you haven't, prepared for that audition or that open mic night, is you're kind of procrastinating a little bit. You're waiting for some moment, you're waiting for the right time. And listen, I get it. I'm doing so many things today alone that I have procrastinated from other days, right? So we're going to procrastinate. Like, that is the nature of humanity, of humans, I feel like, right? And just life in general, because things get busy. But the reality is that we do make time for the things that matter to us. And I'm realizing that the why behind, like, why we procrastinate as singers, as women who really want to sing, like, we want to step into our power and, like, use our voices. We have this love for creative expression and music and theater and performing and songwriting, and we really want to see ourselves, like, singing at a coffee shop or on a stage somewhere, and, like, we're, like, quietly hiding that dream, but we actually want it to happen. And we're like, okay, like, we can kind of start to confess it a little bit in the comfort of this podcast space, right? But we're not actually taking action on it. Why are we not taking action on it? Why do we not take action on these things that we want to do? And I'm realizing it's because of this lack of confidence. Confidence not only in our voices and in, like, the fact that maybe you don't feel super comfortable singing high notes, or certain parts of a song scare you, or you feel shy to sing in front of people. That's one thing. That's the performance aspect of it. That's the full vocal technique aspect, the practical side of things. But then also, you don't feel confident in the fact that you have a creative calling. You don't believe that about yourself. And you don't feel confident in the fact that your voice is God given, is God breathed, and is made to be shared with the world. You don't feel confident in that. And I realized that because that's how I felt. Like, I loved to sing, and I even felt pretty, like, maybe I felt like relatively confident in my singing voice for the most part. And I've built it over time since I've started intentionally growing as a singer after I left medical school. But, the mindset part of it was probably the biggest one, because I didn't really know, like, that was going to be part of my creative calling. Actually, I did know, but I wasn't confident in it. Like, I knew that I was meant to be doing something creative, something in the performing arts. I was meant to be singing and acting and performing, but I wasn't confident in it. I didn't, I could not put my stake in the ground for years. It took so long. It took so long. And so that, I think, is literally why we are all procrastinating on one thing or another when it comes to singing or songwriting or putting ourselves out there. We not only do we not feel confident in the technical, practical aspects of singing, but we don't feel confident that we even have a calling, or that we even um have, like, that this could be something that we can actually do. Um, and that's how I felt. And it was only when I started to move past that and I started to believe in myself and believe that, no, these gifts are given to me, and I have, like, I can do something about it and I can share them with the world. And I am not going to be held back for one more second. That's when I was like, that's when I started. That's when I really, really started. And I started to go all in. And I was not procrastinating. Like, when you know that you are meant to do something, you won't procrastinate. Like, when you know it to the core of your being and you are firm in it, you believe it, you will not procrastinate because you're like, no, I got to do this. I'm going to go. I got this. Like, let's go. So I think that's the thing. Like, that is the why behind why we're not procrastinating or that why we are procrastinating as singers. And part of it that might be coming up for you is this like idea of perfectionism. Well, it's just not ready yet. Like, I'm not ready. Like, my song isn't ready yet to sing live, or like, I'm not ready to perform this song. I was talking to someone in the DMs of like not feeling ready to like perform like in a on stage somewhere, and someone in the Facebook group too came in and was like talking about perfectionism. And so I'm going to do an episode on perfectionism as well next week. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. But so that is part of it, is like you feel like it has to be perfect. It's not quite there yet. You're not quite ready yet. And I get that. And I understand that too. I'm going to talk that next week. But this idea of like procrastinating, it's because you don't feel confident in who you are and in your calling. And I want you to ask yourself these questions. Number one, the first question, and it's also your takeaway, is if you were confident that you could build healthy, sustainable vocal technique and grow as a singer, what would you do today? What would you do right now that you would not procrastinate on? If you like knew for sure, I can develop healthy vocal technique. Like, I can sing those high notes. I know I can do it. Like, I can do it. If you absolutely had that certainty without a doubt, what would you do today? Would you start working on that song? If you knew for a fact that you could get the technical aspects of like, singing a riff in this song that you really want to learn to sing, if you knew you could do it, would you do it? What would you do? Would you start working on it, or would you keep putting it off? You would probably start working on it if you're like, no, I can get it. I can get it in like 10 seconds. Like, let me just try it. And I know I can get it. If you had that certainty, maybe not 10 seconds, but if you had that certainty in yourself though, right? If you had that certainty in your voice, if you trusted your voice enough that like, I could figure out how to do it in a way that works for my voice, in a way that's healthy, you would probably take action on it, right? You wouldn't doubt it and you wouldn't put it off, right? So that's my question. What would you do today if you had that confidence in your voice on a practical, technical level? Now, the other question I have for you, if you were confident that you have a calling on your life, we're getting deep. We're getting deep, honey. Okay. Whew, getting a little hot. Okay. If you were confident that you have a calling to use your voice and your creativity in this world, what would you do today? This is a very powerful question to ask yourself, because like, truly think about it. If you knew that tomorrow is not promised, right? Let's be real. Like, let's be so real. Tomorrow's not promised to any of us. If we knew that every single day was truly valuable and like live like today is your last day, you know what I mean? Which sounds dramatic, but like, let's be real. Like, we don't know, right? If you knew that, and I'm not trying to say that like in a negative way, but I'm just saying, like, if you really knew that and you decided that you were confident in the fact that, and like, someone knocked on your door and told you, you have a calling, you need to use your voice, but you knew that today is your last day, what would you do today? You would do something with your voice, right? You would do something with your voice. If you knew that this was your last week to use your voice and you had a big calling to share your voice with the world, to sing for your child, to sing for your family members and your loved ones and inspire them through your music, to sing for people around the world and share your music online, to play songs and to write songs and to perform songs in beautiful, expressive ways. If you knew that you were called to do that, if you knew that you had this like passion on your heart and you weren't going to let it go, what would you do today? Would you sign up for the open mic night tonight? Right? Would you post a video of yourself singing your favorite song online, like without caring what anyone thinks, because you know that you're meant to share your voice, period, end of story? Would you book a voice lessons? Because you know that you're going to grow and you know that this is what you're meant to do. You're meant to use your voice and you're not backing down for one more second. What would you do, right? Okay, that got really deep. But I want you to really think about that. Like, if you are confident that you have a creative gift and it is a calling for you to share it with the world and not to sit on it for one more week, one more month, one more year. Oh my goodness, how many years have you been putting this off, right? If you knew that you were meant to do it, what would you do today? I think you would take action. I really do. I really think you wouldn't procrastinate anymore if you thought about that. Like, if you thought about those two questions. First one again is if you're confident that you could grow vocally and build healthy technique and you could hit that that note, you could do that riff, you could become a better singer, like technically speaking, what would you do today? And then the second question is if you knew that you were confident that you have a creative gift that is meant to be shared with the world through singing, what would you do today? Those are two questions to ask yourself. And I really challenge you to refuse to hesitate for one more moment. You decide not to procrastinate. We're going to get into this even more with the perfectionism episode. And I love the interview with Amy McNee. If you guys didn't listen to it, go back and listen. That was last Monday. Oh my gosh, so good. But I started listening to her book, We Need Your Art, and she has a whole chapter on perfectionism and on procrastination. And they're both so good. I'm probably going to reference them again in the future as I dive into it more. But like, it really takes you guys deciding is something that like I know that she talks about a lot. It takes deciding. Like, and so I challenge you to think about those questions I gave you and refuse to not make the decision. Like, decide today, come to the Facebook group and tell me what, like, do you struggle with procrastinating? Yes or no? And what are you going to do about it? Like, what are you going to do instead? Like, if you were going to, do something today, answer one of those questions. What would you do today? Come to the Facebook group and let me know. Do you struggle with procrastinating? Just come into the Facebook group and say, like, I struggle with procrastinating. If I were, confident in my singing voice, I would do this. Or if I were confident that I have a creative expression, like calling over my life, then I would do this. What would you do? I would love to know. Come to the Facebook group. It's Singing Tips and Technique for Women. So make sure that you come join us over there. The link is in the show notes, but I want you to not procrastinate for one more second. I challenge you to refuse to hesitate one more second. If you were confident that you could grow as a singer, what would you do today? If you were confident that you have a creative calling to share your gift of singing and tomorrow is not promised, what would you do today? I really challenge you to answer that. I would love to hear your answers in the Facebook group. And you know what? Don't procrastinate and come book a lesson with me so that we can get going on this, so that you can figure out your own personal plan for practicing in spite of your busy week, in spite of your busy life. Figure out a way to make time to start singing and build confidence as a singer. That's what I do with my coaching sessions. That's what I do in my lessons. So go to creativelybyestelle.com/studio. I invite you, like, if you are ready to not procrastinate for one more second, I'd love to work with you and help you in this journey. You can go to creativelybyestelle.com/studio. All right. I hope this encourages you. I hope this hyped you up. I hope this motivated you. And I hope that you're ready to not procrastinate for one more second. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode and to this show. I'm so in awe of you for being here and showing up for your creative gifts. That takes courage. Don't forget to join the performing arts community on Facebook for support and inspiration as you continue on your journey. If this episode helped or inspired you in any way, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and share it with someone. It means so much. Thank you again, and don't forget to keep singing, acting, dancing, performing, and living creatively. Talk to you next time.